Do these irons in my hand here finally prove that we've hit a ceiling when it comes to golf iron technology? Especially when you give some of the best engineers in the world an unlimited budget and therefore, of course, an outrageous price tag. I don't know, I guess I'm kind of expecting something a bit different from the ordinary ones. Which is exactly what we're going to test today. Quite expensive, outrageously expensive. Guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Simon here at SAS Golf Academy with one of actually my favorite irons, which could be deemed reasonable in the secondhand market. And if you like this video and the idea of reasonably priced secondhand equipment advice, please consider reasonably hitting that subscribe button as I'm on a goal for 100,000 this year. You have to give it to Titleist as it is arguably the only brand that a good majority of golfers would be happy to use their putters, their wedges, their irons, their woods, their ball. So I guess there could be an argument to why they obviously produce some of the most expensive equipment in the world. Which is why I've chosen this as my affordable contender today. Still quite pricey considering this came out in 2019, lofted at 32 degrees, very much that mid to low handicap player's iron, pretty thin at top line, minimal, maybe a touch of offset, and obviously with the head design, a bit of forgiveness if you do somewhat catch it, not flush out the screws. One of the biggest bonuses with Titleist equipment, especially around this era, like 6 years old, in good condition, and at that price tag, that did feel great, to be fair, is I know you're not going to lose much money on it. It's going to be worth £50 less, maybe in a year, 2 years' time. That's if you decide to part with them at all. I guess my argument and the talking point that I want to talk about today is, for me, that's pretty much as good as I get it. 19 degrees launch, just above 5,000 spin, 130 miles an hour ball speed, 188 yards carry with a decent descent angle. That's kind of all I'm after. But let's not forget, these were still $200 or £160 when they were first released. So these were still in the higher tier when it comes to expensive equipment. And what I just saw there, I was very much expecting. Which begs the question, and why I'm excited to look at the numbers in a minute. What on earth does this thing below the T100S give me more, considering this was £500 or $500 per club? We're talking over 3,000 whatever currency for a set of 6 irons. Let me give you a bit of backstory and also talk about the issue that we potentially got coming up in the game. This particular model, the CNCPT 02, which is the blade version. I'll show you the more forgiving versions as well here on the right hand side. They actually released 3, which again were designed to be somewhat of a combo set if you were to be fitted into these. And the first concept iron Titleist brought out was basically just game improvement. Obviously still with that massive price tag. And the idea behind these is that if the engineers have an unlimited budget, can throw whatever they like into this particular design and head model, what could they actually achieve? Especially compared to the mediocre £200 club here on the right hand side. I must say a big thanks to the guys at Replay Golf for obviously sourcing both of these clubs, especially the one on the left hand side. And both of these were released in 2019, hence why I've chosen them, as well as they're both 32 degrees loft, both with stiff flex shafts, and I tried to get obviously a similar profile as I could find in Replay Golf with the T100S. For obvious reasons, they only had one CNCPT in there. Before we cover the price of what these go for second hand, I think we have to talk about the club itself and potentially what it does offer slightly differently. Number one, it would have looked exceptional in 2019. I mean, this thing is absolutely spot on. That being said, in 2025, you could argue there's quite a lot of clubs that look like this design now. And I guess that's the idea with concepts through every manufacturing business, whether it's cars, mobile phones, computers, and then evidently golf clubs. It's worth noting this thing looks sharp. This looks very tight, very blade-like from the top. Look how thin that top line is. and not offset whatsoever. From a comparison standpoint, next to the T100S, you could argue, again, slightly thicker actually from the T100S, and again, a tiny bit more offset when I'm resting them against the floor. So as I hit 5 shots with each, and we just get some rough data from both of these clubs, my talking point is, in 2028, the new ball is going to be introduced in the professional game, and in 2030, for everyone else. And you could argue, yes, you're just going to lose a tiny bit more distance, but it does mean that it's the first time in a long time that the parameters are changing. Technology to get the most out of the new balls will change. Tell you what, that's a great start. That's going to be hard to beat, that is. And it's going to be a very interesting time, especially for golf balls, because you don't want to spend thousands and millions of pounds on R&D ball. This is our new one that's going to be conforming, gets to test day, goes over that 317-yard mark that is not allowed to, which is going to bring up teething problems, and it's also going to bring up some kind of hesitancy. Considering this will be the first update in the golf ball conforming rules since 2004, you could argue equipment came a long way. Balls, drivers, irons since 2004 up until around probably 2016. But then after 12 years of using it, testing it, making sure you're pushing the limit as far as you can, since 2016, we haven't really seen that much difference in distance, forgiveness, launch, spin, whatever it might be. Tell you what, for £400 or £500, if you get 4 to pitch, imagine these, you can't really go wrong. Literally just put those on a blanket of each other, I have. Finally, one on the target. 5 shots, obviously that pull one's going to touch long as obviously the spin drop. But taking in my anomalies and my swing, I mean pretty consistent numbers, 5,300, just over 190 carry, just because again, I'm not spinning the ball enough, too much on the inside. Overall, the once £200 club brand new, and obviously more like 60, 70 pounds a club now in 2025, certainly performs well in the category that it's designed for. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that manufacturers, when the golf ball rule was announced and obviously it was changing, they were in uproar and all that kind of stuff. But in reality, it's an excuse to sell new equipment. This performs better with the new ball. You'll get more distance or whatever it is with the new ball. We've tested it. And for once, I'm actually excited about technology. What is actually going to happen? What is going to change? I must say, putting a bright orange grip on these clubs does seem somewhat criminal. I mean, I have absolutely flushed that, to be fair. I appreciate it's gone massively left. It's just as well, because I haven't even changed it to the CNCPT. Better. I have to say, it feels incredible out the middle. One of the big things with these CNCPT irons is that they came up with a super strong alloy to go in, obviously, their design of the head. It feels incredibly soft and solid, considering it is a hollow body design, which definitely takes feats of engineering to obviously give. That being said, you can still hit a crap shot with it. That was lovely. I think it's worth noting that I'm going to just get rid of these ones for the data point of view when obviously we measured these up. And obviously you could argue the slight less offset of obviously the CNCPT push mine a bit more out to the right hand side, and obviously 2 slightly different shafts. Apologies for my standard of mislabeling. That's the T100S there, which says hybrid. Technically, because my face was more closed with the T100S, you could put down that to shaft, or the fact it's more offset, I got lower launch. But for me personally, if I'd put both of these heads in the same shaft, same length, in a robot that's incredibly consistent, we might see some difference, but maybe not £300 per club difference. Guys, if you like this video, please leave it a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and any questions, sasgolfacademy.com. Catch you guys later.